Hello, everyone. My name is LaShonda Brown. I am a B2B tech creator and the founder of Bootstrap Biz Advice, where I help burnout service providers do less manually to live more fulfilling lives by leveraging tech. And welcome to the Roundtable. We are currently live streaming on both LinkedIn and YouTube. So, for those of you who are engaging live on LinkedIn, I would love for you to actually share this broadcast. I've actually never done that before, and I'm curious to see what happens when you click. So if you are watching on LinkedIn, go ahead and give it a share. If you are watching on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. Now, this is going to be jam-packed with value. I want to give every single panelist an opportunity to hop on, introduce themselves to you, but I would encourage you to stay in touch with all of them following this live stream. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, I also created a post with some links to help you to stay in touch there. They are going to give you a CTA at the end, I'm sure, because they have so much knowledge to pass along. But we are going to do our best to land the plane at 2:00. So if you have to pop off, just know there will be a replay. The best place to watch it, I'm not going to lie to you, is on my YouTube channel. And I'm not just saying that because it's my business, but LinkedIn video is a little 2 steps behind. So if you want to watch the replay, if you want to share with your friends, if you want to put it in your email, if you want to send it to your mama, cousin, sister, brother, use the YouTube link. Okay. Now, with that, I'm going to bring up one of my friends. I have just learned an incredible fun fact about him. Didn't ask for it, but he freely gave it to me. And I think you're going to find it hysterical. So we are going to start with the man, the myth, the legend, Justin Moore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Oh, sorry. I was just doing the robot. Here. My bad. Sorry. I was sorry.
Why my bad. You got prior experience with that. Tell the people.
Well, Justin Moore, aka Flava J. There's a little bit of lore here, which is that I was in a breakdancing crew in middle school. I was the headspin. I was the windmill guy. So I'm just gonna go out and say it. I also was in a metalcore band. So there's some pretty rich lore there for sure.
We have also managed to sign up for similar conferences within a few weeks of each other. So if there's video evidence of our friendship by the end of September, just know you will be blessed. So with that being said, I think the people need to know about the product located behind your head and what brings you to the roundtable.
Wow. All right. Well, first and foremost, let's just say LaShonda is the most epic friend in the universe, because she has just been you have been such an incredible proponent of my brand new book, Sponsor Magnet. And yeah, basically the quick backstory is that my wife, April, and I have been on the internet for over 15 years. My wife started her first YouTube channel in 2009. And very quickly, brand partnerships became our largest revenue stream. And so over the last, basically 15 years, we've done close to 600 sponsorships personally, made over $5 million doing it. So it's been our primary revenue stream for a long time. And then I ran an influencer agency for about 7 years, giving, hundreds and hundreds of deals to other creators as well. So this is really kind of my experience is both sides of the table, having been in the trenches doing it for years myself, but also bringing deals to other creators. And then in the last 5 years, I've created this very interestingly strange, weird business all around sponsorship coaching. So now we support creators in a different model than a manager or an agent, in that we don't take a cut. We just advise you objectively for a flat fee, basically. So yeah, excited to be here.
So here's the deal. I know that some of you came to this live stream with questions already. So this is your friendly reminder to clack and hit enter in the comment section. I get my questions answered first, okay? I came to the table with stuff I want to ask them. So I put this all together. My questions come first, and then I will address you in the comments. But as your brain is, percolating, what do you want to ask Justin? Drop it in now so you don't forget. I can pop your comments up on the screen. So that being said, that is who Justin is. Up next, man, I could say so many things about Lex, but let's just say there are very few people that have a room in my backyard whenever they want to visit. Lex is one of them. Hey, how you doing? Lex, all of a sudden, I can't hear you, but you're being very expressive. She's been okay, hold on, Lex, you been clacking? Let's see. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you circle back to be a good steward of time.
How
We're
about
gonna
now?
let Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. There
Okay.
you are. We are gathered here today to let Lex tell you what Lex does to
This
make
is
a
the thorough.
living.
So I travel full time, right? So right now I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico. So if you can see, I have like multiple mics over here. We have a lot going on. So we always have a backup, but you can hear
Always
me now.
prepared.
Always
But
prepared.
if people want to learn from you, what is the best box to put you in currently?
I think the best box to put me in currently is newsletter writer. So I run 2 paid newsletters, and I actually mostly focus on building up paid subscriptions. That's my expertise now. I came out of tech. I quit tech in 2021, and I decided last year that I wanted to be a full-time creator, which was like a bonkers idea because I have no audience. I have no audience. And actually I'm constantly like deleting social accounts and deleting hundreds of followers off, hundreds of subscribers off of my newsletter. Like when I tell you my audience is small, it is small. And I was like, can I go full time on paid subscriptions, sponsorships, and like miscellaneous revenue from random internet things? And I've done it this year. And so now I'm a full-time newsletter writer. I mostly make money on subscriptions and sponsorships, and I make a little bit of side cash on some other things. But I guess like I don't really know why I'm here. But if I was going to share anything, it's the fact that like you don't need a huge audience to do this. Like so much of this is about how you position yourself.
The reason Lex is here is because Lex's brain, oh my gosh, Lex can take a complex concept that you would pay thousands of dollars for inside of someone's university and just give it to you in a webinar. You are one of the most gifted educators I have ever met, and you are insanely supportive of the indie community. Also,
Well,
you're fun to be around. So that's why you're here.
that means
Fair
a
enough?
lot coming from you. You taught me the ways.
I will always guide you to the coins. Always. Last person up is my dear friend, Chris. Hi, Chris. How are
Hey,
you? How are
I
you
am
doing?
doing well. Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
So, what you need to know about Chris is the very first time that we chatted. This is after I was being a looky loo listening to his retros via Loom. He created an insane CRM in Notion for sponsorships. And I was like, I have never in my life seen somebody work Notion like you did. So tell the people about your reckless generosity in the form of a Notion database.
Sure. So it's a database I build based on basically sponsorship I got. I was like, I need a place to like manage this. So I built this Notion database of all the sponsors I've worked with, and just to figure out like how I can get better at managing that pipeline and growing that pipeline. But I wanted to just quickly talk about my creator story, if that's okay, Lashonda. So
Of
yeah.
course. Tell
Okay,
the
cool,
people
cool.
your origin
And
story.
awesome. All right. Well, just a couple of minutes. Bear with me, guys. This story starts in 2020, and basically how I became a creator. And by the end of it, I will share how much money I make as a small niche creator in the user experience design space. So bear with me. Hopefully that payoff will be worth it. So I was leading a design team in 2020. It was my dream job on paper, but basically it turned out it wasn't what I wanted. So I decided to quit my job. This is pre-height of the lockdown. And once lockdown came, I had like nothing to do. So I wanted to like tinker around with video. So I started making YouTube videos for a creative outlet just for the funsies, right? And the other thing I did was take a concept of what we were doing internally with the design teams I was working with to build a playbook for designers and design teams and make a MVP available to the public. With no marketing, it got a couple of sales, and that sort of gave me that confidence to be like, okay, I'll launch this product in the the world. Fast forward to 2022, 1 month we did 1,000 in sales, just this random product on the internet, which is also something on Notion. And no marketing of my own, some other creators on the internet had found it and shared it on socials. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. It generated a few $100, but I really wasn't pushed into the creator journey until this huge decision I had. Okay, so two things I had to pick. Either stick with this Web3 startup I co-founded. We raised a little seed capital, so that sort of gave me some potential there far off. And then, or take a job offer, the best job offer I had. I decided to pick the startup. And at that time, I didn't know crypto winter was a thing. And on the side, I was like, okay, I would commit to writing and publishing online every day, aka creating content. The startup actually ended up failing, but talking about UX online or user experience design, our revenue went from May, we did $400, nothing to write home about. June, $2,000, July, $4,000, August, $6,000. And of course, this didn't continue like the hockey stick that Law has, but there was real tangible outcomes from publishing online, right? So I went from part-time creator in 2022 to full-time creator in 2023. And since then, 1,200-ish days ago, 3,000 of pieces of content published, LinkedIn, blog posts, newsletters, video short, like you name it, I've probably tried it. Here are the numbers, all right? So it took us 18 months to get to our first 10K in revenue. And that was such a relief for me as, kind of like the first proper thing that is like just on my own. And I knew that was working. It took us 23 months to get to 100K. So that's just under 2 years of being a creator. 30 months to hit 200K, 35 months to hit 300K, and round about the 40th month of doing this, which is this month, we hit 400K. And that's obviously lifetime revenue. And over half of that came from sponsorship, which only started in 2024. And not only is that the biggest part of the business at the moment in terms of revenue percentage each month, but it's also the fastest growing. So to quickly tie a bow on this story, 4 steps. I came in from the marketing side to tell people about my product. The second is then none of my other projects worked, and I wasn't sure that I wanted a job. And then to 3, deciding I'm leaning into content because that was the only thing generating revenue. And to number 4, how I got on this conversation, eventually stumbling into sponsorship. And then obviously that database that you mentioned.
You are so downplaying this database. And if there is one thing I'm going to do, is be your hype woman. Okay. Y'all, he literally created a database where he walks through who he had partnerships with, the average price, what he delivered, his media kit, swipe copy for emails, examples of reporting, like phenomenal, Chris.
I do want to give credit to where credit is due. Lex helped me shape and think about this pricing and even added her own resources in. So Lex had a huge part in actually building this. So shout outs to Lex. It wasn't just me.
It takes a village, but we're still catching them coins. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. So all that being said, my friends, the people speaking on this panel are utterly qualified to talk about this topic. And I rarely get to talk about this side of me. So even if you've been following Bootstrap Biz Advice for a minute, y'all don't know this side quest. Here's the deal. I would have never even become an entrepreneur had it not been for my husband starting our video production company in 2011. He thought we were going to be wedding video people, but I hate weddings. I loved my own. I hate everyone else's. And after filming one practice wedding and finding me in the closet during the reception, he realized this is not going to work. Thus, we shifted to videos for businesses. We actually did free videos for 6 months until an educational consulting company reached out to us and asked us if we could produce their content in both English and Spanish. Had I done it at that point? No. Did I figure it out? Yes. And that led to somehow, some way, this theater major started doing responses to RFPs for everybody from the federal government to Fortune 500 companies. I have videos that I wrote proposals for that are in national parks. Y'all seen them. Y'all just didn't know it was me. Okay. So when I tell you we are bringing a wealth of knowledge to the table, now is the time for you to go, wow, I have got 45 minutes to pick the brains of this panel. Don't be shy. Social media loves engagement. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, clack, clack, clack. I'm going to bring the group up. We're going to start with my questions, and then I will pop yours on the screen. We did it. We're here.
Look at that. Look at Chris. Look at that. Look at that. Bring it. Bring it. I think could we call ourselves the Sponsorship Avengers? Could we do that?
Well, I mean, I've been waiting for a band name. So I love it. I've already decided this is an annual thing. Y'all didn't know that. But I mean, the people need to know how to make money every year. Like, that's not going to change. Just saying.
It's true.
So we're going to start with Justin. Your question, my friend, is this. What is the biggest shift that you have seen in what brands are willing to pay for in 2020?
This is an easy one. It's that brands are just allocating a much larger percentage of their budget to short form content. We came from the yesteryear of, blogs and YouTube and doing a long form integration on a YouTube video. But as brands have kind of wised up to the, trying to figure out how can we improve the ROAS, which is the return on ad spend of partnering with a creator. One of those ways is increasing the repurposability of the assets that their creators generate. So for example, if you are doing what brands ultimately started doing was saying, hey, can we take this 3-minute integration that you did on your YouTube channel and cut it down into a 30-second ad? And then as content consumption patterns started to shift, even with consumers, with TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and so on, they decided, well, you know what? It's great for this content to go live on the creators platform if they have ample distribution, but it would be cool if we could secure the rights to either license or amplify or boost this content as well on our own platforms, or maybe even on the creators' platforms if we get advertiser access to that. I was having a conversation with a sponsor literally yesterday where we had generated assets for them, and they said that the content you created just performs so much better from an engagement perspective, from a conversion perspective, to the content we generate in-house as a creative team. And so I think I've seen a gargantuan shift in budgets for brands taking those dollars away from, YouTube, podcasts, blogs to short form content.
And I completely agree. And I would say, just as a quick interjection, when you create vertical content that can be used on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, if you have multiple platforms, you charge for multiple placements, sis, okay? Because cross-promoting helps everyone grow. So in my opinion, and I'm seeing nods, so we see some agreement here, if you're going to do a collaboration where you are charging for a piece of short-form content, you give them every placement you got to distribute that message as far and wide as possible if the audiences are the same. Now, if you talk about cooking on the TikTok, but you talking about tech education on YouTube, maybe the cooking folks don't need to know. But if your audience is the same on multiple platforms, sell that package, because the more reach you can give them, the more you can charge. And don't forget about usage. That's another conversation. So just put that out there. Okay. Up next is Lex. How has shifting to long-term partnerships changed your creator business?
So I'm a newsletter writer, and newsletter writers talk all the time about newsletter ads, different kinds of placements you can do in a newsletter. You have a featured placement, right? A logo right up top, big ad, usually with an image for a sponsor. You can run classified ads. You can do fully sponsored issues. And so when I started this creator journey, I was thinking that way. I was like, okay, I have like these kinds of ad placements. And then I was like, okay, this is how many readers I have, right? How many people open these emails? And this is the click rate. And then the pricing that I calculated was so low that last year I just, I started charging like $10 for a classified ad, maybe $15. And then you could buy a bundle for like $50. And by the end of the year, I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, it's not worth it to me at such a low cost to even interface with an advertiser, even someone that I know. A lot of my advertisers last year were people that I knew or people on my list. Even so, it just like wasn't worth it to me because I could sell something else in that spot. And so this year, going into 2025, I was like, it's $1,000 minimum to work with me. Like, it just is. Even though my audience is small and a lot of people will say I can't command those rates, like it just is. It's not worth it to me to promote your brand for less than that amount of money. So then I started thinking, well, who would I be worth it to pay $1,000 to? And then could that be a 3-month partnership? Could it be a 6-month partnership? And I ended up booking a year-long partnership at the end of last year, and then a separate 3-month partnership at the end of last year. So I went into this year with much longer partnerships. They were cross-channel, and I really thought more about like how could I leverage my specific expertise and target my very niche audience with a very niche sponsor match. So I don't typically work with sponsors that are often working with a lot of creators. I tend to work with sponsors who are only working with me. And so I deliver a substantial return for them because they're basically not advertising anywhere. And because I am a marketer, I'm able to like sort of manage the entire engagement in a way that a lot of creators don't know how to do.
Brilliant. Told you. You deserve a seat at this table. And now I'm like, crap, I need to rethink my life. Thank you for that. Okay. Okay. All good. All good. Now, the last question I have is for Chris. What would people be surprised to know about being an influencer on LinkedIn? Which I've decided you are, regardless of whether you identify as one.
Cool. I saw Lex's before answering the question, I saw Lex's pitch, year-long sponsorship pitch. It's so good. So yeah, just a master at work there. So what would people be surprised about being an influencer on LinkedIn? So I think I want to take it 3 points here. Firstly, I think we kind of got to understand why folks and people are using LinkedIn as a marketing tool. Obviously, if you're listening to this conversation, you probably know, but for the folks who don't know or have never tried to advertise, on behalf of their company or using LinkedIn as an advertising platform, it's actually notoriously pretty expensive. So from a return on investment perspective, it kind of makes sense not to hire an expert agency that have like old school questionable strategies, not to use in-house marketing teams and just kind of throw money at ideas that potentially won't work on LinkedIn, and to leverage creators' existing audience that they've spent years and years building. So for them, it might be like performance-based, growing usage of LinkedIn, and comparing LinkedIn to YouTube. YouTube has roughly 70 million creators, nearly 3 billion monthly active users, versus LinkedIn has roughly 3 million creators and just 1 billion monthly active users. So there's a smaller ratio of creators, so it's a much smaller pond. And the audience typically doesn't come for the lifestyle entertainment content. It's more educational. However, might be shifting a little bit. So typically it's like lower costs for eyeballs, fewer creators to advertise with, more authority than maybe some of the other platforms, and picking LinkedIn as that sponsorship platform. So that's kind of why brands might come. And for folks who are not in this world, they might be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then the second point is, because there's no ad share or ad revenue model for the creators, you can't get paid if you go viral, right? It's just not a thing. So creators have to figure out what the best monetization vehicle is, meaning LinkedIn, the space of LinkedIn, what product, service, or thing should I sell? So in that process, you end up testing a lot of offers to your audience or different messaging or both. And it might be different from other creators on other platforms trying to have this like hit song. The question I think on LinkedIn is really, what do my audience find valuable? What are they willing to pay for? And how much, right? So it's more of an exercise if you're creating content there. It's like creative conversion orientated copywriting, especially if you're trying to sell a product, or differently said, like great ad copy, than I need to have this content pop, although that would be nice. And lastly, from my experience, and why I picked LinkedIn is because I'm lazy. It's just not that much work compared to other platforms. Like I'm talking about like return on effort, right? So for TikTok, you got to have a killer hook. You got to have great video editing skills to capture attention. For YouTube, it's storytelling. It's your thumbnail game needs to stand out. For Twitter or X, more real-time interaction, which feels like you're on it all day. And obviously I'm on those platforms, but it's just like not as much effort on LinkedIn. It's pretty chilled. You write, publish, stick around for an hour if you have time, and you continue with your day. So we're talking about like 1 to 2 hours max a day. And that's if you don't do bulk writing. So low cost of eyeballs, offers versus content play. And then the third one, lower effort than some other platforms. In my opinion, it's like the easiest to stay consistent. Those are my surprises.
You came ready, and I love that for you. And I think I will second the laziness of LinkedIn. Y'all don't get mad at me. Don't get mad, but
I'm
this
so
was
lazy.
easy. When I tell you, I'm like, I feel like a content wizard over here because I got stuff for days. I'm like, what you need? I got camera roll, I got video. You want some Canva graphics? Like, when I tell you the amount of effort we put into video content on YouTube, and then I go to LinkedIn and I'm like, you just want words? Maybe a photo? Like, this is phenomenal. So let me just put a little plug out here. If y'all want to bless me, I'm trying to hit 3K followers on LinkedIn. So if you're watching on YouTube, girl, just pop over for a hot minute, pop over, follow, help me hit my goal. That's my next goal. But it has been such a fun time to watch how easy LinkedIn has been for me. And honestly, I love, some people may not like, the interpretive reading of resumes, but here's the thing. I love how blatant it is. It's like, we're here to sell and network, sometimes learn. I don't care about anything else. I don't care where you got them shoes. I don't care what you ate over the weekend. Like, people, when I tell you it gets quiet on LinkedIn on the weekend, I'm like, yes, boundaries. We're grown. We're employed. The other platforms want you tethered in all the time, and it just does not fit my schedule. So I'm living for LinkedIn right now. LinkedIn Bootcamp coming this October. But yeah, for real, like, I love it here. So just know that. Okay, so last question is, everyone is going to answer this question, including myself, and then my friends, we are going to refer to the comments. Now's the time. Put your questions in order of asking. I will pop it on the screen. My question for everyone is, what is the number one tip you have for retaining a brand partnership?
Oh, wow. Oh, this one's easy. Well, okay, it's got to be a two-parter. Number one, don't be rude. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be a Devo or diva. If the brand comes back to you and you deliver your draft content to them and says, hey, can you make this little tiny little change here, or record a little 10-second voiceover, like properly pronouncing the name of our product, don't go, how dare you? I'm a creative genius. I'm not going to do that. You need to pay me $5,000 more money. And you may think I'm joking, but I'm actually not, because I ran an agency and I was on the receiving end of a lot of this type of interaction with creators. And what do you think happens there, right? The brand, the agency, they don't want to work with you anymore. It's a nightmare. So that's number one. That's kind of low hanging fruit here. Just be nice, just be kind, be a partner, right? The second thing is, you need to do something very scary at the end of this partnership, which is come back to the brand, regardless of like what the goal of it was, and say, hey, brand, how did it go? How many sales did it drive? Did it drive the level of awareness that you were hoping it would? Most creators do not ask this question because they're terrified of the brand saying, thanks for asking. It was awful. We hate you. Never talk to us again. But what I like to say, Nelson Mandela actually has this great quote, which is, I never lose. I either win or I learn. So there's only two outcomes here. Either the brand says, hey, it went great, and so you should have no hesitation pitching that brand in another engagement. But if they say, well, it just went okay, great. Now it's time for you to dig into that and say, be very low ego about this and say, oh, that's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that with me. I have some suspicions for why that might be. But can you share some things? I actually asked a brand this one time and they said, oh, God, yeah, we're so sorry. We actually sent you the wrong brief. It was the outdated brief. We actually want to go with these types of messaging now. Case studies, testimonials, those have been much more effective for us. And let's do another engagement, right? Or, for example, let's say you have a content platform where a lot of the feedback that you get is not public. So a podcast, a newsletter. If you do a partnership, like I do partnerships on my newsletter all the time, I get replies of people saying, hey, I've tried that sponsor a year ago. It sucks. Or I don't like them for the following reason. Or, oh, hey, this is interesting. Right. And so if you're not circling that feedback back to the brand of like, hey, I got 4 or 5 replies of everyone saying the same thing, it seems like there's some sort of negative perception of your brand out there in the market. If you're not giving that to the brand, you're not allowing them the ability to come to you and say, hey, we've actually completely redesigned our tool from the ground up 2 months ago. Let's go back and market and emphasize that in another engagement. And so there's just so much value that comes. And what I say is you have to put together something called a post-campaign report that shares not just the quantitative stats of how the campaign performed, but the qualitative stuff as well.
Yeah, the 3 of you on this live have really shaped this for me, this idea that like you are the partner to the brand. And I think a lot of creators, like I've been on the brand side booking with creators, and a lot of creators are just like sort of along for the ride. And I think if you really approach it as like, if I worked for this brand or if I was an advertiser, in charge of advertising for this brand, what would I want this creator to be doing? I really try to put myself in that position where I can say, okay, what are your goals? And then look at my assets, look at my channels, and actually deliver something for them that's gonna deliver on what they want. And I think, in terms of booking a brand partnership, I really like to work with people that I already have a relationship with. So it's very rare that I want to, like, I've had a few sponsors reach out this year who I just don't know at all. And it's like very unlikely that I will work with them because I want to work with people that I like. I want to work with people that I can get on the phone with and have a transparent conversation with about performance and about their goals and how we can work together. I had a call yesterday with my year-long partner about some of the things that they're dealing with, some of the things that they're thinking about. And now I can go into Q4 with a new proposal that is like takes into account what they're trying to do and isn't just about what I want to do, but is actually about what they want to do. And then I know that I have some trust with them so that, if something doesn't go that well, we can talk about that. And I don't have to sort of like shy away and pretend that it didn't work. Like brands know whether or not something worked. The other thing I'll say, because I work with a lot of brands who don't have affiliate links or don't really do a lot of tracking of performance, is that I make a huge effort to track performance on my side. So what Justin mentioned about feedback as a newsletter writer, I get a lot of like secret feedback. And so I make sure that the brands know what people are saying about them and how many people are saying they're signing up for accounts. And if there's notable companies showing up in my DMs that I think are signing up, I'll talk to them about that so that they know that it's performing. Because if they're not tracking it, then they may not know either.
Yeah, so from my side, I basically had the problem of like getting one-time deals very often, just like one LinkedIn post here, maybe a short form video. So I was like, well, what's going on, right? So I think one of the biggest things that I've come to learn is just stay in the loop. Like it could be from a budget perspective, knowing when the budgets are decided, and what they're typically looking to spend on XYZ campaign, So this is when I follow up regularly every quarter. So sometimes they just don't have the budget to sign you for this long deal, right? So you want to keep on following up and to be like, hey, what's going on? And I guess the second point is that, hey, what's going on? What's happening? Are there upcoming marketing campaigns? Are they launching a new feature? Do they have big events coming up? Any announcements on the horizon? Here, like I follow the most creative or active creators in their company or their marketing team, say head of growth, or I sign up to their newsletter. So I'm really keeping my ear on the ground in terms of what's happening, what's the buzz around the company, what's a potential for me to come in and pitch something again. And then the final point is what Justin mentioned. I do these at the end of engagements, like post-campaign reports, but I also do this like yearly visual one-pager wrap-up where I include all the performance metrics of my content just in one cool looking visual. So this could be like followers, subscribers added, which shows growth and momentum. The second thing is impressions or newsletter reads, videos watched, like that total number, which shows reach and relevance. And then any other initiatives I want to pitch. For example, I did it last year, and my problem that I was solving was like, how can I not do one time or like a month-long partnerships? How can I actually extend that? So therefore I included hey, I'm doing this initiative. I'm doing a creator in residence or long-term partnership. Do you want to continue this given of those, funky metrics I just shared? So you want to stay on top of mind here and also send them like a thank you for being a partner this year. And maybe this year I'll come up with something random, like sending them a fruit basket with that report. TBD there, TBD.
Speaking of fruit basket, I don't send fruit. However, I send custom boxes. So let me put y'all on. Okay, so here's the deal. A lot of people will lavish on their clients, their partners when the job is done. No. I lavish when we get started. When I get that 50% deposit and your words have now hit my bank account, oh, we best friends now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a custom gift box in the physical mail as a thank you. When I tell you, I do a lot of B2B tech content. These people are in the corporate grind. When you go to your physical office to clock in to your little cubicle and you see a candle, some fuzzy socks, some chocolate, and other assorted goods, you can't tell me nothing. We are best friends for life. They ain't going nowhere. I don't have to worry about anybody else. Here's the reality. You bring the vibes, you do what you say you're going to do. You slide in with a little bit of reckless generosity, it's a wrap. You don't need paid ad spend. You don't need to do all these other growth hack techniques. Just be a good human and be reliable. These companies just want you to make their lives easier. That's it. If you know for a fact that you have built a community based on trust, that you are reliable, that you are running a business that's creative, you will stand apart. Just be on time. And honestly, here's the plot twist. You can even be late sometimes, but communicate. Have the professionalism to communicate. They'll rock with you forever. Because when I tell you the amount of creators who simply don't complete the project, you can't retain something you don't complete. So I'm telling you right now, like there are basic business things that the brands want to see from the creators in order to feel comfortable advocating for you to the finance department. They're not going to put their neck out on the line if they don't feel like you have their back. And so at the end of the day, if you come to the table truly as a partner trying to help them achieve their goals, everyone literally wins. It's just that simple. I think we overcomplicate things simply because it's new to us. But here's the deal. It's new for them too. So if you can guide them, if you can walk alongside them, if you can say, look, I'm not a fortune teller. I think this content will convert. But at the end of the day, if it flops, maybe we can follow it up with something else. Just keep the doors of communication open. Be a nice human. And sometimes send that gift box so you don't have to give your money to ads. You can give it to human beings. And that's my soapbox. So that being said, We will now refer to the comment section. I'm scared to see what y'all put in there. I'm not even gonna lie. I couldn't even look. I was like, well,
Can we
I
focus
don't know.
on Josh's question right now? Why is Chris so hot?
Wait, where is that? Who said
I don't
that?
know. I'm seeing it right here, right in front of me. Chris, care to answer,
Josh.
Chris?
I said him there. I think I owe Josh some money here after this. So thanks, dude. Venmo?
This is the
I
plan.
love that.
Oh,
Boost the
man.
self-esteem of the panelists, you know? So I'm gonna scroll back up to the top and we're gonna see what the Saints have been asking for. Let's see here.
As you scroll for this, I just want to make one comment, which is I think there was like a very clear theme between all of our answers, which is just like
Yeah.
be a nice person, be reasonable,
Yeah.
which
Goes a long
seems
way.
like a very low bar, kind of. But like again, I think a lot of people don't realize that like sometimes that's all it takes. Like especially if they're working with lots of people who are difficult, you can stand apart, you know, if you do some of these simple, I think, you know, especially, here's my observation, having worked with a lot of different creators, that a lot of us kind of have a leg up because we have worked in a corporate job before. We understand what it's like, you know, maintaining a professional communication with someone, email etiquette. But a lot of creators have never had a quote unquote real job. They may have grown a following in high school or in college, and then they were started to make some money, and they're like, maybe I should try this thing before I actually try out and go get a real job. And so I think some of the soft skills that you develop when you get your first job or your first couple jobs, a lot of creators have not really developed those. And I think this is where some of that comes from.
Well, and like I was saying, I mean, I really think that my background as a corporate film producer makes me like ruthless for negotiation because it's like, I already know when you're not spending your own money, you will come off it so quick. So I'm like, what? I will literally go to in-person events and just walk up to these people giving away, you know, assorted items and say, what I got to do to get that laptop sleeve? What I got to do to get that? I will just ask them, like, don't give me the whole spill. Don't put me on an email list. What you need? You need content? I'm gonna give you some content. I literally at South by hopped in a ball pit for Kajabi and just swam for it. And they lived. And I was like, great, we're aligned. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like have the conversation because I think everyone is just trying to work and pay their bills. We're not that different. We're really not that different. So you don't have to be so intense about it. And honestly, say for instance, I'll give you a great behind the scenes. You know, we're dropping gems right now, but this had a very clear directive. We are not talking about keto. We are talking about brand partnerships. It's very clear. The people assembled here could bring a different perspective on a very targeted concept. This live stream could have easily been sponsored by anybody who is aligned with the concept of brand partnerships. That could have been a CRM like a Honeybook Dubsado. It could have been a company like Relay for banking for creatives. It could be a streaming platform like Restream, StreamYard, what have you. One of the best things that you can do, guys, and I know this is just how my brain works, think like a producer, come up with the concept and pitch a concept. Don't just say money, please, because they're going to say for what? For what though? Because I'm swamped. Like I'm not there yet. And so sometimes, yes, they will have a very clear campaign that they're looking for creators and they'll leverage agencies and everything. But sometimes they got nothing. They just need sales and customers. And if you can come to the table and say, look, I already have a concept. Do you want to put your logo on it? It is aligned. This is my audience. This is what I charge you. You will be surprised. I have gotten 3-month partnerships from people who didn't know me from Adam because I came with a concept. So you can't just wait for inbound, girl. Sometimes you got to go. You got to go and seek them out, but have a pitch. Don't just show up and say nothing. Okay. So I knew it was going to come up at some point. What do y'all think about AI? Okay. How is AI impacting brand partnerships right now? Because I think it's like the elephant in the room. We all encounter it at some point. So I'm going to let everybody kind of chime in And I'm curious, let's see, we're going to start with Lex. What are your thoughts about the impact of AI on the creator economy right now?
I really don't. Yeah, I am so disinterested in AI. Like I use it. I think it's fine. I have no good take here. I'm just not that interested in AI. I spend way too much time with journalists in the dark side of AI to care about it. It's not that relevant for me.
I love that for you. I really do. How about you, Chris? How do you feel?
I feel great because I'm a product designer. So therefore, I think it's huge in terms of companies wanting to pitch designers on the benefits of using AI in their workflow and to take their static designs outside of Figma and actually prototype it. We see numerous companies kind of encouraging their design teams to be like, hey, get it into something real so people can play with it. You can get feedback earlier. So in my niche, I think it's quite awesome just because there's a lot of AI companies throwing money at designer creators. So you have like Lovable, Replit, Windsurf Cursor, although they are more kind of developer orientated, but I think that there's just lots of money in this field. So as a creator, it's kind of like, okay, well, does that align with what you believe to be true? And who are the brands that you want to support in terms of products you've tried, ones you like? So I think it's fair game, and I love this, and I can't wait for it to blow up even more.
Along those lines, just out of sheer curiosity, I did what I called AI month. I reverse engineered it because I just wanted to have a conversation with Philip Allen and sell his book. At some point, I'm gonna have a book to sell, but until then, I just talk about everybody else's stuff. And it got a lot of traffic. So I'm like, oh, do tell, do tell. So we did 3 different roundup live streams, and it was AI tools for biz ops, AI tools for content creation, and AI tools for productivity. And what I realized was, oh my goodness, this is an affiliate marketing playground because I'm talking about 8 companies in one video. And one day, them folks are going to pay me. But for now, I'm going to show them what's possible. And when I tell you guys, create ad-friendly content and then charge them later. You got to show them the concept. Sometimes they don't know. They don't know what they can sponsor. So it's like, okay, I did 30 days of apps back in the day to show people they could pay me to talk about their apps. And some of those videos are still ranking on YouTube and outperforming those companies' YouTube channels. So don't be afraid of almost doing a prototype of what you could be charging for later and just show them, look at these comments, girl. Look at these affiliate clicks. I think there's product market fit. You want to charge? You want me to charge for that? Because I will.
This is the tip. This is the tip that Justin gave on your March live stream that I took to heart, and I made a video about Sunsama, my favorite like daily planner. And then I sent it to them, and I was like, "Do you guys want to do a partnership?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, we saw your video. Yes." And so now they're my latest partner.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Making can be fun.
I have a take on AI that I want to share.
Yes, please do.
And this is more on from an operational perspective or a logistics perspective. So if you are thinking, how can I differentiate myself from other creators? Like, how can this brand like look at me and be like, yes, that's the person to work with? You have to realize now that basically everyone has access to write good enough sounding emails. And these brands are going to be more and more inundated with outreach from creators who are saying, hey, work with me. And so one thing that I have been recommending to creators over the last year or so is honing your chops, creating video pitches, and honing your chops interacting live with the brand. Maybe this is you coming up and starting a conversation at a trade show booth. But really the video is the more scalable one. Is how can you make a 60-second pitch that says all the same things that it would in an email, but just gives the ability the brand to put a face to the name. And video pitches have just been crushing for me for a long time, but it is now something that I'm like teaching creators to do because I just think it's going to be more and more increasingly difficult to cut through the noise. And frankly, this is why I started my in-person event, Sponsor Games, to help people start practicing this skill of like role playing with brands. If they say this, what do you say? If they have this objection, what do you say? So I do think this is like a tactical thing that AI will change.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say that in the newsletter space, that's a huge thing right now. Is like you being human is much bigger now because everyone is just an AI bot. It's like AI slop garbage land. So the more you are, the better you stand out for sure.
Be more human. And honestly, it's so much fun. Just be disruptive because AI is predictable. Humans are not. So shake it up, girl. Shake it. So here's my thought. I love this question because I think a lot of people have not even considered sponsorships who've landed on this. And so they want to know what point in the creator journey should you start to seek partnerships and sponsorships. So I will start and then pop it around. So I think the thing that we are not talking about enough is the affiliate marketing game. And my community knows I'm a huge advocate for it. When I left my agency and I decided to be a full-time content creator, I was able to replace my salary without selling a product because of affiliate marketing. My game is strong, okay? Because my content is aligned. Here's the deal. And I know this personally because I've talked to so many brands about this. There used to be pools of money that was just flowing a few years ago because everyone was at home. Everyone was trying to go, online. They had been offline forever. Now, when it comes to justifying your costs, again, to the finance department, people need a little bit more than just, sweet feelings. They need some data. And just like Lex was talking about earlier, a lot of times they don't even have engines to track it. If you are pitching someone who you genuinely already use, go look, just Google the name of the company, affiliate program, so that when you talk about it, people are using your affiliate link. Therefore, you have data to prove within their own system that there is product market fit. You can literally say, hey, I've already sent you 40 customers. I already know that my audience likes this. So I think a lot of affiliate programs actually don't have a lot of barrier to entry. Of course, you can start with Amazon. I wouldn't, but you could. I personally am a huge advocate for SaaS programs that offer affiliate programs because when you have software as a service, that person has integrated that software into their workflow. And typically, if the software is good, they're going to keep paying for it. And if you can get recurring commission, you can refer them one time and make passive income as that person continues to pay for that service. And the longer you can retain those people, the more value they have. So I'm telling you right now, like a lot of you say, oh, my audience is too small, can't start. Oh, I'm just getting started, can't start. If they have an affiliate program and they let you in, get the link and start sharing it. Because once you have that proof that you can send them customers, it's up to them to decide how much they're going to charge, how much they're going to pay you for that. We'll say that. All right. How about you, Justin? What do you think?
So I have kind of an interesting take on this, which is that I think a lot of people fixate on what's the minimum audience size I need to have, or how much money can I make from doing something like this versus other monetization strategies. And I actually think that that's looking at it incorrectly. The way I advise people to look at this is something that I call your PSA, which is your products, your sponsors, and your alliances. So it's an audience first mindset. So the exercise is really, it's not about how can you maximize the amount of money that you're making. It's how can I most capably serve my audience. And so products, the products that you are creating and selling directly to your audience is just one of the three areas in which you can serve them. So whether this is your courses, your coaching, your books, your digital products, whatever it is, that's just one way. And it's actually kind of narcissistic and myopic to think that's the only way in which you can serve your audience. They're multi-passionate, complex human beings. They have lots of challenges that are going on in their lives. Even if they're small businesses, they may have challenges at home because they're workaholics and they don't have good work-life balance or whatever. Are you ever going to make a course for that? Are you ever going to make a coaching program for that? Maybe not. They're saying that they're having retention issues with their employees. Are you going to make a course for that? Maybe not. So you know what? It's your job to go out there and forge a partnership with maybe some sort of HR tool or training program, or maybe they're having issue with inventory management, going out there and forging a deal with Shopify POS or Square or something like that. You're not going to make a SaaS for that. So it's your job to go out there and actually seek a sponsorship to serve them in that area. And so that's the products, the sponsors. And then the last one is alliances, kind of similar to what you were talking about, LaShonda, around affiliates. But this is even more broad. It's like, do you have a friend who's a coach? Do you have a friend who's a marriage family therapist or a life coach or something that you could put their offer in front of your audience and say, hey, you told me in this survey that you're having these challenges at home or whatever. You should talk to my friend. They're amazing at this. And guess what's going to happen? If they hire that coach and that part of their life gets healed, they're going to now trust you so much more when they're going to be willing to now invest in your coaching or your whatever it is, your product or whatever the things are you recommend. So I really think at the end of the day, it's all audience first. And the kind of the buried lead in all this is that you'll actually make more money in the end if you take this approach.
Yeah, I think a lot of people they're like aiming for these huge names when they think about partnerships. They're like, oh, I use Notion, so I should like book a partnership with Notion. But both of those tips are really good. Affiliates for stuff that you're already using and people that you know. Like a lot of my sponsors, I just sent a sponsorship proposal to one of my paid subscribers who wants to be my fall sponsor. So that can be super powerful, and they can pay just the same rates that anyone else pays. But I would say actually that when you're ready for this kind of work is when you're delivering content or you're in communication with your audience in a consistent way. So I work with, early stage newsletter writers, and a lot of times they have a really hard time getting off the ground and they're like not shipping consistently. And so if you're ghosting your audience still and you're kind of like messing around, you're not taking content creation very seriously, it's probably not time to do a partnership. But if you're shipping newsletters every week, or you're shipping LinkedIn posts every day, or whatever your cadence is, and you're like, I know that I can deliver on this. Because one of the sort of pitfalls of sponsorships for me has been just like how much placement I have, right? Because if I have a sponsored placement, then I also need to have not sponsored placements, and I also need to promote my own things. So once you sort of have that rocking and rolling, then you can say, okay, I have some space for this.
Yeah, and then for me, like I told a story at the beginning about sort of my journey into being a creator and getting sponsorship and stuff. But I actually started with a product first, so like I wasn't actually looking for sponsorships in that sense. I was just like, okay, well, do people want the thing I made? And it turns out they did. So that was kind of like the engine to also drive the content. Where it's like, to Justin's point, can I serve my audience and sort of provide a solution to the problems that I think I am uniquely able to solve with this thing? So that was actually how I did it, and stumbled into sponsorship, meaning like this just happened. People started actually reaching out to me, and it was all inbound. So that probably is a good signal where you're kind of making some noise as well, and deals are coming in before you start to pitch. I mean, of course, there isn't maybe you don't feel comfortable pitching, but if people come to you, then that's a good signal. I think around that. I mean, in terms of number, I think it was like 15K on LinkedIn. But again, it's probably not about the number, because there are tons of smaller size audiences, like creators with small audiences that, net like lots of deals. But for me, I was like focused on solving this problem and educating the audience around this problem with a product and content, and then sponsorship came later. But, I think better advice from other folks on this call.
Your advice was phenomenal. And I feel like, especially because Danielle just blatantly told us that it was great advice, I feel like that's what we should believe, because she took the time to write it. So therefore, I feel satisfied with the value that we have delivered. I also want to make it very clear, Justin has already done a workshop on monetization. Lex has done 2. Chris is going to round out the year. So, and let me just put this out there. I pay my speakers to come speak to my membership, and I shake down the tech companies to do it. If you have a speaker friend in your life and you are inviting them to your paid community, pay your people. Find somebody willing to give you budget to pass them coins to your friend. It's not mandatory, but man, does it feel good to invoice and get paid quickly. So that was a freebie. Y'all can have that. But here's the deal. We're at time. It is what it is. Y'all already know I'm trying to hit 3K on LinkedIn, so don't be shy. Follow me. And I did link all of their stuff. Obviously, Justin has got the book on it, so go and get the book. Sign up for Lex's newsletter. Download Chris's sponsor stack and get your Notion database together. Get your life together. So we are really trying to equip you to be great. So no excuses in Q4. Catch your coins. And with that, my friends, as we like to say on the channel, until next time, ta-ta for now.